What's up guys, my name is Ace, and late last night we got a brand new patch for Modern Warfare. This is 1.08, and with this we've got a decent number of balancing changes, so let's just hop into it. So first up in the patch notes, which of course will be linked in the description down below, we've just got general back-end fixes to prevent crashes and improve stability overall. This isn't stuff I can really show you, just know that they've been doing some more work behind the scenes to work on stability and prevent crashes. Additionally, with the riot shield, they did fix a bug where sometimes players with a riot shield wouldn't take explosive damage when they were supposed to take explosive damage, so that's nice to see. I actually ran into that bug a few times and it was quite frustrating. Also with the riot shield, when you're using the stim shot, you no longer put the shield on your back and completely expose yourself to use the stim shot, which does make some sense. Now for the fun stuff, we've got footstep adjustments once again, and what they've done here is they've adjusted it to always play the walking footstep sounds when you're either aiming down sight, so aim down sight walking, or crouch walking, independent of your speed. They also increase the speed in which you're able to remain using the walk footstep sounds by just pressing slightly on the movement stick. Now that wording's a little bit confusing, but Joe Seacott cleared some of this up a little bit. And basically, pre-patch, if you were aim down sight walking, but you had a bunch of attachments that would allow you to strafe faster while aiming down sight, you could push that sound into the jog sound rather than the walking sound, which is much quieter. Same thing goes with crouch walking. If you were crouch walking with a really lightweight gun with the right mobility attachments, you could reach a speed threshold where it would give you the regular walking footstep audio rather than the crouch walking footstep audio. Let me just play what it sounds like crouch walking before the patch as well as after the patch. So unfortunately, once again, it looks like we have yet another patch to the footsteps where it doesn't really change anything, at least not in the majority of situations. Basically, what they've done now is they've made it so if you're crouch walking, but you're not walking at full speed while crouch walking, then your footsteps will be quieter. But if you're crouch walking at full speed, which is extremely slow, too bad, your footsteps sound exactly the same pre-patch as well as post-patch. Now, unfortunately, I didn't have any pre-patch footage of aim down sight walking, but if you guys want to have a listen, this is post-patch, what it looks like while aiming down sight and walking with a pistol. So even after this patch, your footsteps are still clearly audible while aim down sight walking or crouch walking. And this is kind of frustrating to see. I get it, the devs, they don't want to go overboard and take things too far in the other direction, but this is a few patches in a row now where they've made footstep adjustments that don't actually seem to have any effect on the vast majority of situations that you're getting into. It fixes a few edge cases where the wrong footstep audio may have been playing, but it's not actually a reduction to the footstep sound. I've said this in the previous videos, and I'll say it again, I truly believe that if you're aim down sight walking or crouch walking, your footsteps should be pretty much dead silent, if not completely dead silent. Because when you're doing this, you are purposely sacrificing a massive amount of mobility in order to approach that situation tactically. Currently, the only way to really sneak up on somebody that you know is going to be listening for your footsteps is to be using the dead silence field upgrade and just happen to have it available at that given time. Either that, or you can crouch walk, but not at full speed. You have to crouch walk even slower than your standard crouch walking speed, which is already ridiculously slow. You're already sacrificing a massive amount of your mobility by crouch walking at full speed. So I really do feel crouch walking at full speed as well as aim down sight walking should be effectively dead silent to give us a tactical tool to approach people that are just sitting and listening for footsteps without having to have the dead silence field upgrade charged at that given moment. So hopefully in the next patch we'll see some real adjustments to the footsteps that we'll actually notice on a regular basis, because as of right now, at least in my opinion, this just isn't cutting it. But moving on to the next thing in the patch notes, this is something that I've been waiting for since launch and I'm very excited to see. They have fixed a lot of the UI and challenge states getting out of sync. So the biggest thing for me here is my camo challenges. They always display as me having 0 progress towards that, even though I'm still earning those camos as I go, but it's just kind of frustrating because I don't know exactly how many kills I'm at with that particular camo. Now, after this update, it's actually showing those things, and that's huge. That really helps keep me motivated working towards those camo challenges. Now moving on to Piccadilly, they actually made some adjustments to this map finally, which is awesome to see. First off, they made spawn adjustments on this map for TDM and Domination, and this was desperately needed. This is one of the reasons that this is the most hated map in the community right now, is simply due to the spawns more than anything. So they made adjustments there, which is great to see, although I can't show you before and after because that just requires some playtime to really get a feel for it. Also, they moved the B Domination flag on Piccadilly from the middle statue area now into the bus area. In between all of those buses, that's where the B flag is now, and I think that's also a good adjustment. I think we're going to see a little bit more play towards the B flag, especially with the spawn adjustments on top of that. And it also looks to be a little bit more balanced on both sides, because pre-patch, I believe it was the C Domination flag, had a massive, massive advantage going into that game. Now, I don't think they have quite the same advantage getting to that B flag. So it looks like now when Piccadilly pops up, I might actually play it and give it a try, because before this patch, I would refuse to play this map. It was just so broken. So hopefully these changes were enough to make this map a lot more playable for respawn game modes. And now this brings us into the weapon balancing. And the first thing we saw was an adjustment to the hipfire for a bunch of the assault rifles. Looking at it pre-patch, you can see the Kilo, the M4, the AK, the M13, and the Scar all had the best hipfire in the assault rifle category, and then you'd have the FAL, Odin, and the FR with a wider hipfire spread. This hipfire spread for that initial group of guns was actually better than a lot of the SMGs in this game, but now what they've done is they've just nerfed all of those down to the level of the Odin, so they all match the Odin. This is about a 45% increase to your hipfire spread. And I think this is much more in line with where it should be for the assault rifles, so I think this was a very good change. Next up, we have a quote-unquote nerf to the 725 shotgun, and this was a reduction to its damage range. Now, without any attachments, this was about the best one-shot kill range I could get with the 725, simply because the pellet spread while aiming down sight had been widened quite a bit, so it was harder to hit multiple pellets. This was about 16 meters. Post-patch, this is our new one-shot kill potential without any attachments with the 725. Looks a little backwards, doesn't it? While I have no doubt that they actually decrease the damage range per pellet with the 725, I don't know if this was intended or not, but the aim down sight pellet spread was tightened up again, and now you're able to hit more pellets more consistently, so this actually increased your potential one-shot kill range, without attachments at least. Now, if we were looking at stacking this thing up with all of the best attachments to tighten that spread up as much as possible, then yeah, you would probably notice a slight difference pre-patch versus post-patch. But at the end of the day, what they've done with this patch to the 725 is effectively buffed it with no attachments equipped on it, which would definitely be a strange choice, so I do think that this was unintentionally reverted with the aim down sight spread, but who knows, I could be completely wrong on that. In either case, just know this thing's pretty much just as good as it always was. Next up on the list for weapon tuning, we have the M4. This got a decrease to its headshot damage multiplier. It's now 1.5 instead of 1.6, and what this means is in that closer range situation, the standard 4-shot kill range, you now need 2 headshots mixed in with a body shot to get a 3-shot kill. Whereas pre-patch, you only needed 1 single headshot mixed in with 2 body shots to get a 3-shot kill. This is the exact change I was asking for with the M4, and I think this is a great step in the right direction. It's an excellent way to tone this gun down a little bit without destroying it. It's going to lead to fewer of those situations where you feel like you get literally sniped or shotgunned by an M4, because now you're not going to get as many of those situations where people just hit 2 body shots and then the third one hits them in the head. And I think this is awesome to see. Now, I should point out in the standard 5 and 6-shot kill ranges, 1 single headshot mixed in with body shots will still be helping you out. Now, in the patch notes as well, with the M4, it says increased hipfire spread, which would make you think that it got an extra increase to the hipfire spread compared to the other assault rifles that were listed in the patch notes. But that's just not true. It just falls in with those other assault rifles, just like I showed you guys earlier. As for the FAL, this one actually got some pretty big buffs. First off, it got significantly reduced recoil, and what they did here is they essentially added a center speed time, or they significantly buffed the center speed, because pre-patch, if you fired a full magazine like this, you would literally be aiming in the sky above this giant building that I'm aiming at. Post-patch, it's much more reasonable. You can see between each shot, the gun is actually pulling back towards center, and it wouldn't really do that pre-patch. So this is a massive, massive buff to the recoil when it comes to the FAL. It's still not like a laser beam by any means, but now it's at least in line with the other guns in the game when it comes to recoil. Additionally, with the FAL, we got a huge increase to the aim down sight speed. Pre-patch, this would aim down sight in 367 milliseconds. Post-patch, this is 284 milliseconds. This is an absolute night and day difference when it comes to this. It's basically a brand new gun now, so if you haven't given the FAL a go post-patch yet, make sure you try it out. You just might fall in love with it. And finally, for individual weapons that were adjusted here, the EBR-14 also got an increase to its aim down sight speed. And this one wasn't quite as drastic as with the FAL. With this, our aim down sight time went from 350 milliseconds down to 317 milliseconds. So it's definitely a noticeable change with the EBR, it's just not as crazy as the change with the FAL. Now the last thing on the patch notes here is there were some miscellaneous ammo reserve adjustments for several of the guns in the game. Honestly, I don't know which guns were changed here, but it seems like there were some outliers where they had way more reserve or way less reserve ammo than the other guns in their weapon class, and now they've been adjusted so they're more in line with each other. But with that, that's finally going to wrap it up for today's video on the 1.08 patch. Definitely some great changes in here. I'm really liking the headshot change to the M4, as well as that huge buff to the FAL. I think those are really good steps in the right direction. However, at the same time, I'm a little bit disappointed in the footstep adjustments they made, as well as the adjustment they made to the 725 shotgun. Of course, though, I'd like to know in the comment section below, what did you guys think about this patch? Are there things that you like about the patch, dislike about the patch? Just let me know down below. If you enjoyed the video, a like rating is always appreciated, and don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.